What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466cards, and today is a follow-up video to yesterday's video about Beckett's authentication team, because I will be honest, I don't know that much about them, and so I want to dig deeper into the numbers and understand them a little bit more. And so that's what we're going to do today. First of all, I really didn't know how much they charge for their authentication services. And so here is the page with a very confusing table and list of prices. To summarize, basically, if you are getting a single signed item, and it can be a card, it can be a check, it can be a bunch of things. You can see here, checks, cards, postcards, trading cards, but it could also be items like baseballs. And if you scroll down here, apparel, it could be jackets, books, flags, it could be all sorts of things, right? But this is the list of prices for single signed items. If you have 2 signatures, it's here. 3 to 4, it's here. 5 to 20, it's here. More than that, it's here. And then you enter the name of the player into the search bar, and then it'll pop out what the rate will be. So for example, if you're like me and you like Mario Lemieux, and you put in Mario Lemieux here, it'll tell you that the base fee is $30. And so you would select here. And then if there was a Lemieux autograph with something else, or with someone else, then it'd be $50, and so on and so forth. And this range of pricing is actually a little bit higher than I expected, but I would say on average, given the range here, that conservatively, I think 30 to $50 for the average price of a authenticated autographed item would be about the range. So about 30, maybe $40. I think 50 might be pushing it, but you can see right here is if you have 2 signatures, already at $35, right? So 30 to $40, I think, is a fair estimate. And if we look at this collect article, it does say here that they authenticated more than 2 million items. So some quick math on that. 2 million, let's just go with 2 million. I don't know what the actual number is, but 2 million, it is what it is, times 30 to $40, that's 60 to $80 million in revenue that they're generating from the authentication team. And so it makes a lot of sense why they want to lock these guys up. And for comparison, if we go back to this slide from a previous Beckett video that I did, I used some basic assumptions like I've just done with the authentication team, and I came to $15 million in annual revenue from grading versus 60 to 80 for the authentication team. That is a really, really big difference. And if you're wondering how I got to this number, it was 600,000 cards graded times an average revenue of $25, because this is the range of prices. So I use 25, and obviously you can see here the range of prices is a little bit lower than what it is on the authentication team, because the base rates are $15 and $18, whereas the lowest ones for the authentication team is 20, right? So this is a really big difference, 15 million versus 60 to 80. And you might be saying, but Simon, you have here 600,000 cards graded each year. And we know from the gem rate data, shout out to Ryan, that came out, that the annual number is 657, not 600,000. You need to bump that number up. And I would say, sure, that is true. The number for 2024 was 657,000. But if you look at the last couple of months here, October, it was 50,000, which annualized is about 600,000. So that is a fair number if you look at the October number. If you look at the November number and the December number, the number is actually way lower than a 600,000 pace. If you look at this and this number, it's in the neighborhood of a 400,000 pace, maybe 450 if you count for the holidays. And so, if anything, this number of 600K is overstated. If we think of it even as 500K or 400K, you're looking at maybe $10 to $12 million in revenue from grading cards compared to this times 2 million times 30 to 40 bucks, 60 to 80 versus 10. And it becomes really easy to understand why they wanted to lock up the authentication team and why they prioritized that over announcing anything to do with the grading team, because this is them telling the world, and let's be honest, probably telling PSA, bugger off, we've signed these guys long term, don't try to steal them, go find your own experts, good luck with that. That's, and having done a little bit more research now, understanding the pricing and the amount of items that were graded and comparing it with their probably second biggest revenue generator, which is grading cards, and it doesn't seem like it's close, if we're going to be honest. It does not. And so they're locking up their cash cow and then probably prioritizing the second, which is what my original video yesterday was about. And now, having done a little bit of analysis and back of the envelope math, it does make sense why Beckett collectivists decided to prioritize and announce the world that they were re-upping with the authentication team. They were locking them down for long-term contract extensions. They're not going anywhere. You can believe in the authentication team. So some quick number crunching here to get an idea of why Beckett is doing what they're doing. And I think, having now looked at the pricing compared with the 2 million number, this makes a whole lot more sense. So one of the few times in the last little while where I can say Beckett making some good moves, making some logical moves. So we'll see what else collectivists and Beckett comes up with in the weeks ahead. Thank you as always for listening and watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.